blood. You look to your buddies. You look to your friends.
There's only a couple guys in the whole world that make me love pro wrestling, and you're one of them.
You know, all the bad shit you've heard about us, it's all true. But another thing that's true is we love professional wrestling, and that's why we're here. I'm not sports entertainment anymore.
Talk to him, kid. This is a new beginning, and it starts tonight.
A new day is dawning for DX.
Yo, who you talking to?
What's up? This is X-Pac 12360 on AfterBuzz TV. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. My name is Christy Olsen. We have a big show in store for you today. We are going to have an in-studio guest joining us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Jimbo is here. He's on the couch. Say hello.
Hi. How are you today? I love your curls.
I hate them, but thank you anyway. Mark in the booth, how you doing?
What it do, everybody? Happy Wednesday.
That was kind of rude of me to cut you off like that. Sorry. It's the whole hair thing. And we are going to have the one and only Rocky Romero joining us later for our interview segment.
I'm here too.
And I'm getting there.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Because you want the big introduction, right?
Oh, I just thought you...
You want it? You want me to say, let's see.
Mr. Rocky.
WWE legend, member of the Click, NWO, and D-Generation X, and host of X-Pac 12360, Sean Waltman.
Yeah, all right.
There it is. How you doing?
Great. I just thought you, I don't know, I thought you
Forgot
might
about
have
you?
forgot my introduction when you went right to the Rocky.
No, because I
Thank-
forgot to say Rocky when I was pumping it up at the beginning, so I had to
Gotcha.
throw him in. Because everybody's excited to hear from him.
Yes, I'm excited for Rocky to come in. I've known Rocky forever, you know, and I'm not going to talk. I'll save it for when he comes in. But he's done a lot of things, and you know, we'll talk about when he used to run the New Japan Dojo here in Santa Monica too. So, anyways, we'll talk to Rocky in a little bit.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to that. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Awesome.
You look very good.
I know. Actually, for me, I look at it for me. That's really not my nature to say things like that.
What?
I know.
Hey,
I'm trying to
go
be
for it.
better about, you know, talking myself up instead of self-deprecating and, you know, shit like that.
Well,
Whatever.
good start.
What? What did I do?
Nothing.
Why are you looking at me like that?
No. I'm trying not to go into one of my cheesy hosty segues.
Don't worry.
I'm letting it roll.
They're not cheesy.
They're not cheesy?
No.
I think they're
And your
cheesy.
curls are just fine. They're actually very beautiful.
Cheese curls.
Why, thank you.
Yeah. So, anyways, there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
There is a lot of cool stuff going on. You know what? I heard about something today that I was like, I want to make sure I get a ticket for that.
Are you going?
The Click reunion
Yeah.
at WrestleCon.
Oh, man.
This is going down on the Saturday, April 1st. One night with the Click in Orlando, Florida. Guess who's going to be there? Do you know?
Me?
Sean Waltman, Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Together, you guys, people who buy tickets can get professional photos taken with all of you. There's going to be a 90-minute Q&A. Do you know all these details?
I read them.
Did you have to sign it? Did you have to agree to all this? Or
I
you're just
did.
like, I'm in?
Yeah. I think I was the first one that agreed to it all.
And a 30-minute limo ride that fans can join you guys on.
That's right.
To the NXT show after it's
Yeah.
all said and done. So
Yes.
it's going to be cool.
It's going to be fantastic. I just, you know what? Anytime that my friends and I can get together is amazing. We only get to do it, for the most part, you know, WrestleMania, maybe SummerSlam sometimes. But to let everybody in on it is even better. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was telling Christy, this is like some bucket list stuff right
Yeah.
here. If you're a wrestling fan and you're a fan of the Click, you need to hop on the top tier and make sure that you get the limo ride, the custom poster autograph, something else you want autographed, the Q&A,
The
everything.
thing is you never know who else might show up.
Woo!
You just never know. Maybe, you know.
Yeah.
maybe you're not, can't advertise them, but I don't know. Maybe I
We'll just leave it at that.
yeah, we'll leave it at that.
We'll just leave it at that.
A hint?
No.
No hints?
Well,
No. But,
Come on, we're selling these $999 tickets here.
No
And I
hints.
was
I didn't mean to go there.
explaining to Chrissy, people might look at the price and be like, "Oh man, that's really expensive." But if you factor in how much it'll cost to take a picture and an autograph with Shawn Michaels, a picture and an autograph with X-Pac, a picture and an autograph with Nash, a picture and an autograph with Scott, and then a poster to get signed and all this other stuff, it's more than what you're paying
There's a
for.
different level.
There's four
pricing
tiers.
Four tiers for and obviously the top one is rather pricey, but there's also one that's more attainable for the the average person that's on a budget.
I understand that, but save your money and
Yeah,
make
absolutely.
this something you could cross off your
Sure.
bucket list.
It's
Why
going to be
not?
sold
Mania
out.
show.
It
Like-
will sell out. There's a limited amount.
yeah.
There's like under 1,000.
870 tickets
Yes,
only available.
and they will be gone really quick.
They'll be gone real quick. Not only are all your fans there, but just wrestling fans all
Around
over
the
the
world.
world
Yes.
for WrestleMania that are going to take the opportunity to have this once-in-a-lifetime chance to hang out with these guys. Who gets to say, yeah, I rode in a limo with the clique,
The thing
Too
is
sweet.
all those, just from the people coming in from out of the country, there's enough of those folks
Yeah.
that they'll gobble those tickets up and just like that. So I would suggest
Hop on it.
I would suggest not
Yeah.
waiting
Don't
on
wait.
this one.
For
Head
sure.
over to showclix.com, SHOWCLIX, and get your tickets.
Yeah.
Get your tickets. Well, you watched the UK tournament this weekend, right? Everyone's
Yeah,
kind of
of
buzzing
course I
about
did.
that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
such a good tournament.
Yeah, it was. I was just blown away by, my number one draft pick, Tyler Bate. I didn't think he was going to win. I thought Pete Dunne was going to win, but I was hoping Tyler would get in the finals with him, and almost pull it off. But he actually pulled it off.
Yeah.
And it was great. And hats off to Pete Dunne. Hats off to everyone in the tournament.
Yeah.
I love all those guys. They're all fantastic guys. All of them have busted their ass. Joseph Connors, I want to give a special shout out to him because about a year and a half, I want to say ago, somebody hit me up about putting a word in for him. And I just told him, I'm like, hey, man, yeah, I will. But in the meantime, tighten up the body a bit. And, man, he did. He went out and he busted his ass and not got all jacked up and gassed up and steroids and what, just got in really good shape, and he did fantastic.
And I know you love it when people are smart enough to take your advice.
I am, and especially I really love it when I put a word in for somebody or praise somebody, and then they go and knock it out of the park like some of these guys did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this tournament was it gave that real feel again
Yes.
that the Cruiserweight Classic had. So when you knew who you were fighting in the next bracket, like Pete Dunne knew he was facing whoever, he's going to take them out. And he takes them out at the end of the show. And then he sees he's wrestling Tyler Bate, so he's taking out Tyler Bate. He's like,
Yes.
no, I'm going to take you out so I win this tournament. It gave it that real feel of like, this is a real competition, and this guy really wants to win. Pete Dunne was my pick. I'm glad he made it to the finals. He has a huge future.
No, he'll be
All
there.
of them.
I guarantee you that Pete Dunne will end up being the UK champion at some point. I'm going to predict that he actually takes it from Tyler at some point soon, and then Tyler chases it. I think it would be the natural thing to do.
I like it.
This kid is so freaking strong.
19 years old.
Yes, that's the thing is when
Unbelievable.
I recommended Tyler to William Regal, that was the whole thing. He was like 17.
Wow.
He was 17 years old, and I was doing the commentary on this match in Chikara for the King of Trios, and he picks this guy up for an airplane spin. He's about 250. And he gives the guy a giant swing at the same time as he's airplane spinning the guy.
What?
Yeah.
That's some Cesaro stuff right there.
Actually, all props to Cesaro, but pound for pound, I think this kid's even stronger.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I really hope
and
we
he's
get to see a
19.
match. Yeah.
He's not even done growing or developing, maturing yet. So.
And he seems really sweet. He shouted out his parents in his speech, and Triple H, William Regal, Finn Balor were all there. It was kind of a cool moment.
Yeah, and I think he takes care of himself. He doesn't. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even drink. I could be wrong.
Oh well, where he lives, he is old enough. I was going to say he's not even old enough, but over there you can drink, right?
Sure.
I think it's
they don't have all the hang-ups about that over there.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they have a lot more drinking going on over there too.
You think he'll fall into the young, like I was too young and got too much too fast situation? That
Let's
a lot
hope
of people.
not. I think there are things in place now to look out for that. We're a lot more mindful about those things now, and you can see those things starting to happen and maybe cut them off at the pass. If that makes any sense to you. So it's just that's part of how the industry has evolved, and I think Tyler's going to be just fine. He's got a really good head on his shoulders.
He's got a great look too.
Yeah.
He's got like movie star, like Leonardo DiCaprio look. Like, he's dreamy.
Why don't you take a shower with him, Jimbo?
I would.
Jeez. Well, I want to take this moment to remind everybody that we are on YouTube and iTunes. We'd love it if you would like, rate, comment, subscribe. 5 stars. Hello, just suggesting. We'd love to hear from you. And this is episode number 20. There's 20 good ones behind us, 19 good ones behind us. So make sure you check us out on iTunes and download those past episodes. Yeah. You guys ready for a little bit of news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
X-Pac 12360 Wrestling News.
That was way smoother this time on the segue into the news, Christy.
Someone asked me yesterday if I ever go back and listen to the old episodes, and I'm like, no way. Can't do it. I know I'll hate it. I can't do it. We've come a long way in 20 episodes. We certainly have. Well, let's talk a little bit about a legend that we lost this week. Jimmy Superfly Snuka passed away at the age of 73. His family member, The Rock, announced it on Twitter with a lot of people chiming in. Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake, everyone offering their condolences. Tamina Snuka posted a very sweet photo saying, "I love you, Dad." So.
Yeah. Let's not pretend, like we're not thinking the obvious here.
Like he's had a tough last couple years.
Yes, and first of all, sincere condolences to Tamina and the family. It's not whatever happened with Jimmy Snuka and in the past, none of that is his family's fault. And, I just sent a, sincere condolence and that to Tamina on Twitter. And, I get a fuck her family. What about that? Come on. Are you fucking, sorry, I didn't mean to drop the F-bomb here. I'm trying to be better.
I think it's okay.
But come on, everyone. That's totally unnecessary, and maybe that's not the right way. It's just I was disappointed, and I understand how some people feel about that, but hey.
But you should be able to offer your condolences to Tamina.
Absolutely. And I'm going to just take a guess that Jimmy Snuka probably carried a hell of a burden around with him for the rest of his life after that happened all those years ago. So, anyways, next.
All right, let's how about some happy news? Kurt Angle has been announced as the first official inductee into the Hall of Fame. He will be headlining the class of 2017. The Olympic gold medalist received this news on Monday afternoon from Triple H himself, who gave him a call. He said, "I didn't really expect this." He said he's shocked, and that this is the only Hall of Fame that he's not in, but the one that he wanted to be in the absolute most.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Kurt.
Of course. Yeah.
Very well deserved.
Of course it is. He's one of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
I mean, ever. Not just professional. I mean, legit, this guy's was the greatest amateur, wrestler, and arguably like up there with the top, I don't know. And it's subjective what we're talking about here.
Oh,
Who's
yeah, but
the best,
he's been named the greatest shoot
absolutely.
wrestler of all time. Oh, yeah.
No, but just the greatest in-ring
Yeah,
performer.
he was a great
Right up
performer.
there. Right? I mean, not like, I'm not going to say he's, Shawn Michaels, but who the F is? But, come on. Awesome. Congratulations, Kurt.
Yeah.
You're the effing man, dude, and you deserve it, and you've been through a ton of shit and come out the other side and couldn't be happier for you.
Absolutely.
Same as with Dallas.
Well, Triple H is handing out accolades all over the place. He has announced the WWE NXT Year-End Awards, which include Takeover of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Breakout Star, Female and Male Competitor, Superstar of the Year, and Match of the Year, which seems to be the most contentious of all the categories. You guys can all vote on Twitter, and the winners will be announced during a special 1-hour NXT Takeover San Antonio pre-show that's happening on Saturday, January 28th. I
Cool.
just thought I'd save us some time there because we have a lot of stories.
I know, right?
Sanctuary.
What are the categories? Do you know?
Yes. Takeover of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, Breakout Star of the Year, Female and Male Competitor of the Year, Superstar of the Year, and then the Match of the Year.
So who are we looking at?
I think Nakamura wins Superstar of the Year
Yes.
or Breakout Star of the Year for sure.
Yeah, and what about the other ones?
I think the Revival probably wins
Tag
Tag
team?
Team of the Year.
Yes,
They better.
Female will go to Bailey, I'm sure.
should.
I think it goes to Asuka.
Probably.
Yeah?
But this is
Yeah.
this is mostly
That's
based.
true. Yeah, you're right.
This is based off of Twitter and
Fan
social
votes.
media fan votes. So there'll be some public perception in there. As much as I think the Revival does deserve it, I don't know if they will, just because fans may not like them or appreciate what they've done for tag team wrestling. But most of their matches are up for Match of the Year, so I think that should get them Tag Team of the Year.
Cool.
DIY might beat them out just because of the fans on Twitter, social media following.
Well, everybody get on
Doesn't
Twitter
American
and
Alpha
get your
get
voice heard.
didn't American Alpha get in there? Or come on, they were there the whole
No,
year.
I
man.
They are one of the nominees for Tag Team of the Year.
Yeah.
And,
I was gonna say, I
their
agree,
their two matches with the Revival are up for Match of the Year as well.
Okay.
Good. Very good.
Get your votes
And
in.
and that reminded me, when you're talking about how this was Twitter-based,
Yeah.
awards. How about the poll they did after the UK tournament? When I first looked at it, it was like 34% thumbs down. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but maybe you should pick another thing to love and watch. If you're a pro wrestling fan and you didn't like the UK tournament, what in the?
I saw someone you tweeted something good about it, and their reply was something negative, and you're like, of course. All it takes is 1 second, and of course someone hates on this. It really is ridiculous.
Because there are people that go into everything with a negative, I want to pick this apart mindset. And I don't know how the fuck any of you people that do that can enjoy anything.
I don't think they do.
Anything. I mean, unless you just enjoy bitching. So, I mean, you have the right, you're entitled to be miserable and negative and pessimistic or be happy or whatever you want to be. And that, I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I'm surprised that they opened themselves up to that kind of scrutiny by having those polls. Even I'm always like, wow. WWE puts out a lot of these polls, and I'm always surprised.
Yeah, no, but there's something to, and even though a lot of the people I believe that do the negative thumbs down, vote. Some of them just do it out of spite, just to be that kind of asshole, And then some people legit didn't like it, and okay, we know they're the ones that are just they want to be the asshole and the contrarian or whatever, but the ones that legit sincerely didn't enjoy it. That's the one I just. Then tell me what you do like. and maybe we can help you, or maybe not. There's got to be something on the network for you to like.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Was it like 27,000 hours of footage or something? Well, anyway, since we're talking about the UK tourney, let's talk about where these guys came from. PW Insider is reporting that WWE officials are close to finalizing a deal that would bring UK indie promotion Insane Championship Wrestling to the WWE network. Reportedly, they're looking at a multi-year deal that could be announced sometime in the next week. Now, ICW is really more similar, as you guys know, to ECW or like some Attitude Era stuff. And the reports are that their content will not be toned down for the network, so don't worry about that. They're not going PG. And reportedly, WWE is in talks with several North American promotions as well. So
Good.
Look out for ICW on the
I love this.
Good. I wonder if, we should have Mark Dallas on.
I'd love that.
ICW. He's a big fan of yours, I think.
Oh, really? Oh. Well,
He
I
put
really
you
Does
over
the
to
commentary?
him.
He
Huh?
does the commentary there?
He's the owner.
Okay.
He might do the commentary. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think of.
But they've done amazing things. They've gone and they've toured the UK, not just Scotland. And, they've done a pretty good job of putting asses in seats over there. Thousands and thousands of people come out to watch those. So as far as the content, it's somewhat in the spirit of ECW, but it's different. It's very UK-ish. There's definitely like UK wrestling, British wrestling, all that. It's just it's its own flavor. It's like a different type of food. Like going into a restaurant. We're I don't know what you would call our wrestling here, but that's like Chinese food or whatever. Shit. Terrible analogy, but God damn it.
Cuisine.
Fusion.
So, anyways, I'm just a big fan of all those guys over there in UK, and I was at their school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Glasgow.
What did you think?
I think they have a great setup all around. I mean, they did all this, on their own, and they built their own stars. You guys.
Yeah, Grado.
Yeah, so. They're doing something right.
My favorite thing about this is if this gets on the network and it opens the doors for more North American companies to get on the network, it just gives so much more exposure to independent wrestling, and not only people in the WWE that are working there that flip on the network, maybe like an agent just, oh, who's this guy? Like, that guy's cool. We need to call him and bring him to Raw, or like give him a tryout. It gives so much more potential to people who wouldn't be seen before now having that exposure.
Eyes and ears on your brand, as our Keven Undergaro would say.
Congratulations to ICW and WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's talk about someone who has already just arrived in WWE. Miss Mickie James made her SmackDown Live debut last night during the steel cage match between Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch. She offered up some interference there, and Alexa Bliss walked away maintaining her championship, her title. Mickie is a 5-time women's champion and a 1-time Divas champion. She also had a great run at TNA, but she hasn't been on the main roster since 2010. She did have that one-off with Asuka in November, but now she is back, and she is on Team Blue.
Yeah. I'm a huge Mickie James fan. She's I was a big fan of her when she came in and did the stuff with Trish.
Or she was like the super
in
fan,
WrestleMania.
the crazy super fan.
Yeah, the stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was classic. Good for her, and good for WWE to bring her back. What's up with that frickin' luchadora costume? That's awful. That's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, with the granny panty gimmick on the outside.
Yeah, I think it was kind of supposed to be. And she wasn't, Deonna Purrazzo had to wear it too. Alexa wore it in one of the matches. It's been ongoing for a few weeks that this luchadora pops up for
It's going to be the cosplay of WrestleCon.
It's terrible. It's so bad that, it's going to end up being like a thing.
It's going to be a thing.
Hey, that's my Halloween costume next year.
Man.
I hope Mickie is used to elevate younger female talent.
It's looking that way.
That's why they bring us old barks back in. At least that's how it's supposed to work.
Like maybe she backs Alexis for a while, and then she goes against Alexis, or she backs Alexis for a while, and Becky's like, "You're really the one that's been helping her. I want to fight you." And then it's Becky versus Mickey. But
Could go a few ways. They're all good.
I'm just glad she's there.
The
I hope Magnus comes.
Yeah, they should give him. They should give him a try. They should give Nick Aldis a try, aka Magnus. You know what? I'm all for, like, giving everything a try. Before you go, like food.
Yeah. Back to the
I keep going
back to the
food.
restaurant.
food analogy.
What's going on here?
I think Sean's hungry.
Maybe
I had
that's
bacon
it.
and eggs this morning. I woke up.
Bacon and eggs and some
Bacon
bulletproof
and eggs.
coffee.
Yeah.
How do you
that's
do
right.
your eggs?
Well, here's the thing.
Oh, let's hear it.
I usually would just take my time and do them like over easy and cover them up.
Yeah.
And maybe flip them, make them, over meat, whatever. But I started scrambling. I'm a big deviled eggs fan.
Yeah.
So, but it's a pain in the ass making deviled eggs. So I make my eggs now like that, like they taste like deviled eggs. I scramble them up.
Yeah.
And when they're done, I get out the mayonnaise and the mustard, put the mayonnaise and mustard on there, and then sprinkle some paprika on there, and then mix that shit up, and it's like a big old freaking plate of deviled eggs, and it's amazing.
Every time you talk about cooking, I feel like I desperately need to see this happen.
Yeah.
There needs to be a YouTube series or something. We gotta show the people you cook it, because it sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it is. And
Hawk's Kitchen.
My slices of bacon are like that freaking thick. Like for people that are listening, like that thick means really freaking thick.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're eating enough eggs and bacon for both of us.
Damn right.
I love it. Well, for Mickey James, let's talk about another member of Team Blue. I'm really curious what you have to say about this, Sean. So, Randy Orton was involved in a little verbal altercation with a fan at a gym on Monday in Jonesboro. I'm sorry, not on Monday, but they were in Jonesboro for some shows.
Yes.
And this guy approached him, and Randy had his headphones on. He said, "Oh, I can't hear you, bro." Gave him a fist bump. It sounds like Randy was, polite enough for someone approaching him in
Yes.
public. And then the guy proceeded to take a photo of Randy from further away when he wasn't paying attention. But of course, Randy caught on to this and came over and approached the guy. And there were some swear words exchanged. But eventually, Randy ended up saying, "Have a great workout," and walk away. But the guy who was involved just keeps talking about it. And he says, "If Orton had simply approached me and asked me not to take his picture, I would have respected it. But I don't necessarily know that
What's his
that's
name?
on someone." This guy's name is Anthony Martin.
Anthony Martin, go fuck yourself. People have headphones on when they're in the gym and other places for a reason, because they don't want to fucking talk to anyone. And I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but I know it's coming off that way. But, there's these things called boundaries. They're like an imaginary line, and you fucking crossed it. Sorry. I know, like, some people are thinking I'm the dick right now for saying like that, but we're talking like that.
No.
But
Well, no, I always say, people who are in the public eye, they've put themselves there and they usually get paid well to do it and stuff. But so, of course, someone's going to approach him at a gym. That's understandable. But if he brushed them off in the right way and he wasn't rude
and
at
he
first,
wasn't a
let
dick.
him alone.
And
Yeah.
apparently he wasn't a dick.
No.
But apparently this guy must think that he pays Randy Orton's bills. Direct, I'm sure he writes the fucking check and sends it to the power company and to the mortgage company.
That was actually a quote from the guy himself. There was also a response from Lance Storm, who
Let's hear it.
was talking about gym etiquette and how if he caught Randy between a set, which is just bad gym etiquette. Mentioned what you said about the headphones as well.
Yeah.
And generally, like, you don't pay the bills. There's there's a whole lot. It's a very long paper. I recommend people read it.
Let me explain something to you as far as that. My take on that whole "we pay your fucking bills" shit. So, there goes the whole language.
Yeah, we threw that out the window
your
for this one.
emotion is good in this
Okay.
situation.
This is just my feelings on it. I am so grateful for every one of you out there. So grateful for your support and coming out. Or even if you can't afford, a ticket or couldn't, throughout the years, but just invested your time into watching us. That even makes a difference. That moves the ratings up and, puts more money in our pockets. And yes, so grateful. But on the flip side of that, we go out there and destroy our bodies, okay? And it's not just, it's not just for the fans, although that's a huge part of it. There's there's the glory and, and just all of the other things that come along with it. But it's a fair trade. Even Steven, nobody owes anyone shit, okay? It's all about gratitude, and I'm so grateful. But if somebody puts that in my face and tells me they pay my bills, fuck you. Anyways, next story.
All right, we got one more last little tidbit. We just want to remind everybody to watch Bellator 170 this weekend. Chael Sonnen versus
right.
Tito Ortiz.
Yes, and
it's going down on Saturday in Vegas.
I saw Tito.
No, it's in the Great Western Forum.
It's great here in the Great Western Forum.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry, because I didn't realize it was here either. I'm going. I'll be there.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. I really like Chael and I really like Tito. I'm really looking forward to this match. It sucks that one of them has to lose. And when I talked to Tito at the Staples Center at the WWE show, he sounded legit pissed off at Chael.
Really?
Yeah. He had no reason to have the
persona.
Yeah, he had no reason to work me.
Okay.
Right.
So
what were his complaints?
I guess Chael said something about a promise he made to his father that I guess Tito thinks it's bullshit. It's just. Anyways, that's part of it, and just some other things that. I really like them both, and I don't know if I can call the winner on this one. So
well,
I will be there though.
You think either of them will end up in the WWE?
I was talking to Tito about that at Staples Center because he's retiring after this, and I mentioned to him, I said, like, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna go fishing.
Be a dad.
Yeah, and be a dad and all that good shit. Hell yeah, but maybe pick up a little bit of side money in WWE or something.
Yeah, I think both of them would be so great as managers on the mic, just talking.
No, Tito is still getting there. And
I'm sure they could still wrestle, but the two of them are just have that gift of gab, especially
Yeah.
Chael's so quick-witted. I'd love.
He's making a lot of waves on Celebrity Apprentice.
And when I first watched Celebrity Apprentice, I was like, what the F? Chael? That's Chael. I didn't know he was on there.
There's very little promotion for that show for many reasons.
Deal, because of the Trump, the Trump connection.
Oh, yeah, his
I
name
know
flashes
for
up
a
on the
fact
credits.
that they couldn't get any of the contestants for this year's Celebrity Apprentice on hardly any of the shows because of that.
Yeah, it's been a legit thing.
And then President-elect Trump came out and kind of gave Arnold some shit, but really, it's not Arnold's fault. I mean, maybe it's Arnold's fault, if the ratings don't,
And it wasn't even correct with Donald Trump. This was more of his trumping, mine was the best show ever, had the highest ratings when it never did. The ratings for Trump's last season were pretty much on par with the premiere for Celebrity Apprentice. Yeah, but Trump don't want you to know that.
Yeah,
He
it doesn't
talks
fit
it
the
up in a
narrative.
different way. Exactly.
So,
exactly. Well, we're going to be having a narrative with Rocky Romero, who has arrived right here at AfterBuzz Studios. We're going to be chatting with him. Stay tuned.
What's up, party people? Roxy Stryer here from The Tomorrow Show with Keven Undergaro. We're your twice-weekly broadcast of one man's midlife crisis and the mad millennials in Star Trek uniforms that follow him.
And I'm one of those millennials, Lauren Magrasso here. We've had some amazing guests like Russell Simmons, Ileana Douglas, and Craig Gass. Coolio, right?
Christian Blatt in the house to tell you to go to thetomorrowshow.com to check us out. We're live every Monday and Thursday from 10 to midnight Eastern. That's thetomorrowshow.com. Be there or be square, whatever that means.
Welcome back. After training at the new Japan Dojo and making his in-ring debut at age 15, today's guest has worn many masks. He made a name for himself in Mexico's CMLL before moving to AAA, where he had a surprise debut as a member of Sean's D-Generation Mex. He's been one half of title-holding tag teams like Los Cubanitos, Havana Pitbulls, and the Forever Hooligans, holding multiple tag team championships at Ring of Honor and New Japan. Outside the ring, he's studied acting and is a composer. He's even made his own entrance themes. Joining us now in studio, Rocky Romero.
Azúcar.
How you guys doing? Thank you.
Welcome.
That was like the best intro I've ever had.
That's right.
That's crazy.
That's what you get when you come on X-Pac 12360.
Yeah, man, this is the real deal.
Came all the way to North Hollywood. We gotta do something for you.
The whole 10 minutes from my house. I made the trek. Yeah.
Nice. When did you get back from Japan?
I've been home for about just under 2 weeks. Yeah. So I'm excited. I head back in like another week or so.
What are we listening to here in the background?
Oh, this is my music. Yeah, Roppongi Vice theme. There it is.
Actually, I knew that. I just was trying to be conversational.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Did you make this one?
Yeah, this is our entrance theme. Myself and Trent Barreto were Roppongi Vice, and this is our entrance theme. You can find it at rockyromero.bandcamp.com. Sorry for the plug.
Oh, don't be sorry. That's what you're here for. Part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Plug your shit, Rocky.
Exactly.
There's a whole bunch of songs on there, right?
Yeah, I did like basically it's a mixtape, but people have been calling it an album, so I'll just let them call it that. But yeah, there's about 10 songs on there, and today I actually just released and just announced that there's going to be a second one. So it's 6 Trees of Ice, number 2, volume 2, and you can find it at the same thing, rockyromero.bandcamp.com. Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know where you find the time to do all that.
Hey, you know, you didn't mention this in the intro, and it's maybe some people know. Well, obviously some people don't know. You're Black Tiger.
Yeah, Black Tiger 4. Yeah,
that's right.
4th incarnation. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, carrying on the tradition from Mark Rollerball Rocco.
Right.
And who else was Black Tiger?
Eddie Guerrero was number 2. Number 3, Silver King. Number 4.
Oh, that's right. Silver King was.
Yeah. He was for a long time. He was probably the longest. The longest version. Yeah.
Those are some boots to fill.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what they were thinking.
I love Silver King. Yeah. And obviously, may rest in peace, Eddie was amazing. But you're my favorite Black Tiger.
Thank you.
With, you know, we got to give the props to Mark Rollerball Rocco, the original.
Absolutely. No, it was crazy. When I got the gig, the storyline was, you know, because Tiger Mask 4 is an actual student of Sayama, the original Tiger Mask. Right. So the angle was that they wanted me to, or at least they were going to say that I was trained by Rollerball and that I was his student. So, you know, I never met the guy. I knew I've seen his matches as Black Tiger, but I didn't really know enough about, you know, Rollerball Rocco. So I went and I tape traded or whatever it was back in the day and paid a bunch of money to get some old World of Sport DVDs, and then I just started to dive into Rollerball Rocco, and then I was like, oh, this guy is the man.
Effing believable.
He never stops. He's unbelievable. So that was the first thing was oh, I better you know, I got to get my cardio up. So I just studied him. I tried to look for the little traits that that he had, you know, the way he moved and did things, because I wanted to really
you want people to think that you were actually trained by Mark Rollerball Rocco.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I really tried to take almost an acting approach to it, trying to be looking for the little things that he did instead of all the big, you know, the moves or whatever. Nice. It wasn't about that. It was how he walked, how he stepped in the ring, how he, you know, he used to do this thing where he'd touch his mask a certain way. So I started to emulate those things, and that's the things that I would really work on. But then, you know, I did that for maybe 3 months preparing and just watch so much video, but it was cool. It was really cool.
How did that end?
Well, in the whole Black Tiger thing? Yeah. So I lost the mask to Tiger Mask 4 eventually. Okay. You know, and it was interesting because I was wrestling for New Japan, then I got let go. I went to Noah. Right. Then I came. Did I go to Mexico and then go back? No. Then I went back. I lost the mask, and then I think I went back to Mexico or something like that. I don't even know. so long ago. I get confused about my own career.
Let me go backwards for a little bit,
Yeah.
Rocky, because I want to say the first time you and I met was, well, at the New Japan Dojo. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Oh, yeah. Maybe
Like came out with Johnny?
2002,
Yeah,
2002. That's right. Yeah.
Yes. Now, were
I
you,
think I might have been like just started to get like a little bit of like responsibility within the dojo. We had Justin McCulley, who was like the head
Yes.
trainer. So for the first year, he was basically in charge of the training. But then after that, then it kind of responsibilities came like between me and Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryan
yes.
were the two that were kind of responsible for some of the training and things. Yeah.
I sent Mark a picture. God, I hit something here, made a bunch of noise. I sent Mark, do you have that picture that I sent from the dojo? I think it was Christmas time or something.
I didn't get that picture.
My bad. Oh, shoot. Anyways.
We'll post it on our show social media.
Yeah, but I mean, there was just a lot of familiar faces.
Right,
you and
right,
Brian being
right. Is
the
that
two
like the
biggest.
goofy one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely be posting that on our
Yeah.
Instagram.
Sarah Del Rey's in that. Myself, Danielson, T.J. Perkins, Iceman. There was a bunch of guys that ended up doing a lot of stuff after that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and you lived in the dojo, right?
No,
Or Brian did.
Brian lived in the dojo. Because I'm from LA, so I
Yes.
just commuted every day.
Gotcha.
But that was a crazy commute. I mean, 'cause it was all the way to Santa Monica, so like LA traffic, it would take like 2 hours sometimes to get there. So driving 2 hours there, 2 hours back home was insane. But we didn't do it for the money or anything. We were just looking for the opportunity. We're all just hungry young guys.
Boy, that was a great place.
It was awesome.
Oh my God!
Look
it
at
was
all the
beautiful.
talent that came out of there.
Exactly.
And okay, they were the first time I showed up there. It was either first or second time. Boss Rutten's there. I'm training like with Waleed Ismail, who's like one of the greatest Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys in the world.
Yeah, what a character
right?
he is too, right?
Leota Machida.
Yeah, Leota was there. Yep. Shinsuke Nakamura
Shinsuke
was there
Nakamura.
at that time. Joe would come in and out at that time. I remember I think DDP was there. Maybe Steve Blackman might have been there.
Steve was there the first time
he came.
Yeah.
It was just a crazy. It was so cool because you didn't know who was going to show up. Any day. It would be different, and it'd be like, okay, today, X-Pac shows up, the next day, Boss Rutan shows up, and starts showing us like how to do, kicks to the liver and something, and it's just like cool, Josh Barnett would show up, like, it was awesome. It was really cool, and like, the experience of having just like a collection of different minds, and of course Antonio Inoki was there all the time.
Yeah, I used to train with when I was there. I would get on the mat and we would pummel. And
exactly.
I remember one time we were pummeling, and his grip slipped from the back of my head, and I caught him under that big old chin. I was like, anybody else would have been out cold. He didn't even sell it.
He didn't even sell it.
Cast iron jaw.
Yeah. I remember like the first day the dojo opened. I think Daniel Bryan talks about this in his book, and it was like me, Brian Kendrick, were all there early, and that was like the first day, the unofficial first day. So like it was the first time. Inoki was coming in to do the training, and Justin had just set up the weights, but he hadn't even put all the screws in.
Gotcha.
So like there was like like what's the one with the
butterfly?
Yeah, the butterfly cross thing.
Sure.
Like so he goes over there and he's just kind of testing it, and Inoki like pulls on them, and the whole thing just comes crashing down on his head, and he didn't sell it for a second,
way.
man. He was badass.
Yeah.
He is a badass still, like
man. I was in the meet. It was Joni and I were in the meeting with him and Simon, and Simon's doing the translation, and all of a sudden Inoki just out of nowhere, I'm not gonna tell you what he said, basically he was like, it doesn't matter what he said, but he just started speaking perfect English and said something concerning Simon,
right.
And then it was back to the kayfabe again.
Hey, Sean, is this the picture?
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
Wow.
Yeah, look at all that.
Yeah,
That's
up in the
crazy.
top we have Samoa Joe on the right with the Santa Claus hat. Who's that?
That's Dave Marquez.
Oh my God, that's Dave Marquez.
Yeah.
Sarah Del Rey with the mask.
Yep, in the middle there.
Yeah.
And then a guy named George in there. Yoshida, he's the guy. off to the right, and he's Cyber Kong now.
Yeah.
And in Dragon Gate, yeah, TJ's down there at the bottom with the mask on. I'm to the left.
And TJ, I remember working out with TJ, and he was so much smaller than everyone, but I mean, he reminded me so much of me at that point. Because I mean, he just wouldn't give up.
No,
wouldn't give up, and I mean, it was hard, like for him when you're wrestling and you know rolling around with guys 30 pounds heavier than you. Like the next smallest guy was me.
Yeah.
Well, no, maybe not. Yeah. Actually, at that time, I was really strong then. But regardless, that kid, man.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah,
right?
I'm really happy for him. Yeah, like, you know, it was hard for him, I think, because he was the youngest and how people would treat him, you know, for being, because he was the youngest. And then he's like, has all these guys who are kind of in a pecking order in front of him. Daniel Bryan, myself, you know, Ricky Reyes, whoever, Joe. And then, like, he didn't really almost feel like, I don't think it took him a lot longer to finally get his, like, real opportunity, you know, for people to understand, like, how great he actually is, you know? So, like, it's cool to finally see that happen, you know? And kind of like, you know, they build this division kind of, like, around him and to kick off the whole thing. And it's like, it's cool.
Now,
you know?
Have you been paying attention to any of the cruiserweight stuff in WWE?
Kind of, yeah.
And what's your feelings on it so far?
I mean, I think the idea is cool, and you know, I like that they're giving them a space to, you know, show what they have. But I just think that the timing of it is really bad. You know, like meaning that you know, once you see like you know, John Cena and, you know, Randy Orton, then you have to like wait around and then you're watching these guys, you know. And I think that they should be on before. I think that just making that small switch, keep them live, but just making that small switch is going to do a lot better for everybody.
Yeah,
you know?
and I honestly, I don't know if I didn't think they needed a 205 live show. I just think they should have put the guys, you know, and as part of the other shows.
Raw.
Just
Yeah, they have the time for it.
How do you feel about them changing the ropes and the lighting and all that?
Not a fan.
Match?
Not a fan. It makes it seem like it's something different. Like it's a, you know, it's
its own entity. It's not part of Raw.
Yeah.
Almost like it doesn't deserve to be part of Raw or something.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, okay.
It's a good way to put it.
And I hit on this. I think it was last week when I was talking about it, and on Bring It to the Table on the network. Paul Heyman and Rosenberg.
Oh, yeah.
Pete Rosenberg.
Yes.
And who else was in there? Anyways,
JBL.
JBL.
Okay, and you know, they brought up the points that we're talking about here, and JBL said that he used to go on last every night and didn't have a problem, and if these guys couldn't do that, they shouldn't be here. But the problem with that is the obvious.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't being pushed, you know, to have the perception of being the top guys, so they can go on last. I mean, it's silly, and I get it. You're trying to toe the company line on the company show, but come on, let's be real about things here.
I personally don't mind that the look is different. I think for the network, I guess, you know, it makes sense to really try and make it separate, so it seems like there's more shows than just the whatever they have, you know, the NXT show or whatever. But like,
do they have to be purple though?
What's your
I think
it, purple?
I just don't like it.
You just don't like it?
No,
Maybe the look.
I like purple, but not for the wrestling. Right?
Okay. Well, maybe they could work on the design a bit. Yeah, but I think definitely it should be on earlier. Like, I mean, they could be a part of Raw. They couldn't be a part of Raw. That doesn't. But they just need to give them an actual fair shake and actually put the time and effort into the whole production.
And,
you know.
And they should be on Raw and SmackDown. It shouldn't be just like the ladies are on Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
You know. I mean,
That's a good point,
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Then they can have a match once or twice a year between the two champions.
Right. That would be cool. Yeah. Well, and they should do that. That's a whole pay-per-view ready to go. Didn't they used to do that back in the day? I don't know. Whatever.
Have you talked to a lot of those guys about what they're doing and how they're doing there and how they're feeling? TJ Perkins.
I mean, I know TJ's doing well. He seems to be really happy. Like the little bit that I've spoke with him, and I think I think for a lot of the guys, this is their first big opportunity. You know, like besides TJ and like Brian Kendrick or and some of the guys, I personally think that there was a lot more. There was a lot better cruiserweights, to be honest. But I think that some of it, this is what was available, and not taken away from these guys. A lot of the guys are great, but I think that because of the way the world is in wrestling right now, is like a lot of guys have contracts to other places, right? So
That's
like
right.
this was like the best that they could kind of put together, and they tried to sell it and package it as this is the best cruiserweights in the world, which wasn't true.
Best available.
Best available.
Who were some cruiserweights you think that are better that were just under contract that couldn't make it in the
Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, myself, the Young Bucks, Trent Beretta. I mean,
Trent Beretta Jr.
Yeah, I think he makes the 205 cutoff.
Okay,
yeah. So, but I mean, I do like that they gave a lot of guys opportunities that probably wouldn't have got the opportunity or the call. But it definitely gives them a lot of room to grow with the product, of the cruiserweight product. So we'll see what happens in the next like CWC tournament or whatever, But that's another good point is like also doing the show like it kind of ruins the CWC tournament in a way, Also, I feel like like maybe it's not going to be as special unless it's a whole brand new crop of guys and like the best of the best get taken into the.
I would.
Yeah.
I would. If there's going to be another tournament, I would imagine it would have to be with
all
some
new guys.
fresh guys.
Yeah. I would do all new guys.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. Like can't throw those guys back in it, right?
Rocky, how did you end up living in Mexico?
Okay. This is such a long story. I'll try to do the short version. Basically,
we got time.
I'm just trying to set up how we ended up being D-Mex together.
Okay, so I got fired from New Japan, right? And I went to Noah.
Why'd you get fired?
I had a personal issue with Simon at the time, and he didn't really tell me that he didn't tell anybody. He didn't end up telling anybody in the company that I was fired. He just didn't want to use me, I guess, or because he was upset at me or whatever. So like.
It's a manly way of handling it.
So then I was pissed off. I was hurt. I was in the middle. Like I just finished my title run as being a Black Tiger. So I was like, all right, well I'm gonna show New Japan. I'm gonna screw that. I'm gonna go to the rival. That's what you do, right?
Yes.
So then I called up Noah, and within like 3 days I was booked in Noah. Like so I go over, and then like 2 weeks after Simon gets fired from New Japan. So then. New Japan calls me and goes, oh, okay, are you done with Noah after this? I was like, yeah, I'm done with Noah. After telling Noah I was going to come back, they were like, yeah, I was like, I'm done. I want to come back to New Japan. So they're like, okay. I was like, and Shinsuke called me. He's like, oh, make sure you get more money. I was like, he's like, I'll help you because Shinsuke was a top guy. So he's like, back to the the dojo relationships. Who is helps. So he called the office and he said, you guys really screwed over Rocky. You should make sure that you guys pay him a little more. So I was set. I was ready to go back to New Japan. And then once Noah found out, they were pissed. So they called New Japan and they basically were like, if you offer Rocky, a contract, and we're gonna come after Giant Bernard, who Baldo.
Sure.
So New Japan got cold feet, and then I was kind of like screwed. Thankfully, Noah still wanted to use me for some odd reason, and they didn't even make it a big deal or anything.
But because they just figured you were trying to do the best for yourself. But I mean, they can be a little funny about that kind of shit over there.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, just look at the Matt Sydal situation.
Right, exactly. So basically, then I was like, man, if I ever want to go back to New Japan, I'm gonna have to go somewhere else. I have to quit Japan altogether. So I spent maybe 8 months or 10 months in Noah, and then I just said, okay, well, thank you. I'm gonna go to CMLL, knowing that CMLL was working with New Japan. Right. So Alex Kozlov helped me to get to CMLL.
Nice.
And they had this new gimmick that they wanted me to do, which I couldn't understand why. But it was this thing called Gray Shadow, and it was a terrible name, and Mask was like whatever, it was just like a complete rip-off of all the other guys, so like a Mystico is the hot guy, so they just create like 14 guys that look like him,
And really, Gray Shadow actually kind of is probably a good name for you. Considering how they were using it, it was almost like you were a shadow. You didn't know even knew you were there.
Right.
I mean, did they even remember that you were on the roster?
No. And then the crazy thing is, 2003, myself, TJ, and Bobby Quantz, you know, Ricky Reyes, we go to Mexico and we have these like matches that are crazy. We're featured in the annual anniversary show that they have, and you know, we did these 3 matches in Arena Mexico where like people threw thousands of dollars in the ring after. I mean, we like really set a certain standard.
It doesn't happen as much in Mexico as it used to.
No. This, you know. Now I think
explain the throwing the money in the ring.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated by this.
Yeah,
it's not just money either. Sometimes it's food or snacks or toy. Like
for us it was it could be a lot.
Mostly
of
money, but if they didn't have money, they just want to throw
something just to show their appreciation. So like when you do a match that's like above and beyond what you know the norm and like it's just something spectacular, they show their appreciation by throwing money and or other things into the ring just to say thank you because they're so passionate and they love, you know, and they understand like what you did was great, you know.
And then afterwards, everybody goes to the back and we divvy it up.
Exactly. We all divvy it. The referee gets some. Right. Everybody who's involved gets.
It's a very cool. It was really cool. And when I worked in Japan for Universal Pro, you know, the predecessor to Michinoku and all that stuff. They would throw money at us when we like.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it's
like
such
I would
a good
work
feeling.
with Silver King and Tejano and Jerry Lynn and I, or be in matches with Dos Caras and the Cowboys and Dr. Wagner on our team. They'd throw money and it was great, man.
Yeah, what a rewarding feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, somebody
because we weren't
tossing
getting paid shit.
Of course. Of course, yeah. We weren't getting paid anything either at that time, you know, because we were guys who'd had no names. You know, we were just coming to Mexico in 2000.
And were you on early? You weren't even on the main event, were you?
No, we were like...
it's usually the main event gets that.
Yeah, exactly. We were like third... Yeah, I think we're like the third match, which is like a decent place to be, but like all the stars are... There were stars that were before us and then, you know, obviously stars that were after us.
Now, how long were you in Arena Mexico, CMLL, for people that don't know that they're the same? How long were you there before I was supposed to come in? Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course.
And then never came.
Yeah,
and then
of course.
showed back up in AAA.
That was the catalyst
Explain
to
that.
everything that happened. So I'm Gray Shadow, and I have this great debut with Mystico, Paraguayo Jr., and all these guys. I'm in a top spot, right?
Yeah.
I debut, but I do one Arena Mexico one Friday night, and then I was a complete flop. So that was it. So like they really didn't give me another opportunity. So I had like the first month or two was like great because they had already booked me in all these places and all around. So like I was doing really well and I was making good money that first month or two. But then once I flopped, that was it. You know, I was like shunned to the Arena Coliseo show, and you know I was making like $70 a week or like $60 a week depending on what the gate was. You're getting paid off the gate, right? So I'm just like miserable. I'm starving in Mexico, and I'm just like, what am I doing? I was like 2 years ago, I was, you know, making a great living and like, you know, I'm Black Tiger and all this, and I'm like, I'm eating, you know, tacos and, you know, beans and, you know, and like, you know.
Living in the Fornos
living in Hotel Fornos, exactly, you know, which is like a weird, like, sex
hotel. It's a hotel where white people bring prostitutes.
Yeah, but it was close to the arena. It was clean and it was safe. It was fine, but it was just, you know, that's the truth of what it is, you know, like, people, you know, like there's like a Televisa's nearby, right, which is like, you know, some network, and they go and they have their affairs at this hotel.
Of course they do.
Very sexy. So I'm there and I'm starving, and you know, and thank God I have two friends in Marco Corleone, Mark Jindrak, and Alex Kozlov, who like they're doing really well, so they're kind of helping me out. You know, we go out to eat, they'll pay and stuff like that. They're just just great brothers, you know, and. So I finally like, okay, well, I got to talk to Paco Alonso, who's the owner of CMLL, and let me go, you know, and straighten this out. Maybe take the mask off.
Seems like a really good guy, straight up guy for an old, like such an old school, like you know, old, like comes from the oldest wrestling family in the world.
Exactly, they've had
even older than the Luderoff
like,
family is older than the McMahon family.
Exactly. Yeah, 80 years or something, probably, right? 100 years.
Something like that.
That's crazy. So I figured, okay, let me talk to the boss, and maybe he can, you know, we can straighten this out, and maybe give me another chance, you know. So it's very hard to get a seat or an appointment with Paco Alonso. So I go in there maybe like 12 times, trying, and they kept saying, well, come back tomorrow, and I'd wait for like 2 hours, 3
Sounds
hours.
like meeting Dorian.
Yeah, they try to wait you out or something, like just so maybe you would go away,
Yeah,
so.
AAA boss is even worse as far as sitting there for 4 or 5 hours for a meeting with them.
Exactly. So I go and I show up like 12, 13 times, and I'm just like defeated,
Yes.
I'm broke and I'm defeated. I'm just like, man, okay, well, I got to go home. There's no other choice, there's nothing else to do. And finally, like right around the time New Japan calls me and say, we want to give you a tour. And I was like, oh, well, finally, things are looking up. This is what I came here for, right? But right around that time, Sean comes in and he quit AAA.
Well, no, I came back from a unfortunate incident I had in Mexico that,
okay.
I've talked about enough. I came back and, Dorian AAA had told me they would put me to work when I came back, but then they didn't. And so I sat down there and I starved too.
Yep.
So finally,
I think Jindrak was
Mark,
the
said something to Paco,
right.
and Paco started looking at me on YouTube and all that, and I went in and I got a big guarantee from Paco, big. And then all of a sudden, once the press was out, then all of a sudden AAA and Dorian's like,
right.
anything to get you back. And I'm like, well, it's going to cost you this.
Right. And you were booked on like there was a big event coming up, and they were all excited to have you. They were going to give you like the semi-main spot or something like that, right?
And the truth is, I wasn't ready to have that match anyways. No way.
Right.
But is that why you didn't do it?
In that match.
Yeah.
No, no, it was all about money.
Yeah.
But
For
I
the
burned
guys
a
who are
bridge.
starving,
I
you're
burned
like-
a bridge. But the thing is, go ahead, keep going.
No, so you're booked, and I remember like you coming to
gonna
Arena
wrestle Ray
Mexico.
Bucanero.
Yeah, you're gonna wrestle Ray Bucanero, and I remember you coming to Arena Mexico, and me, you, and I think Kozlov were like, we had a couple training sessions together or something like that. We were like, oh, we got to get ready for this. So like, but then Dorian calls you and says, whatever we got to do to get you back. So you go and you have this meeting with Dorian, and you say, well, and he was just trying to return the favor for, I think, for what we, like you coming over to CML, us trying to help you out. We're like, well, there's 3 talented guys over there that you guys should take a look at.
They already wanted Mark, but you guys
Right.
weren't on the radar because they weren't really doing well.
Right.
Even Alex,
Yeah.
like
Kozlov,
he was doing more
yeah.
than you were, but
Right.
still they weren't utilizing him
Exactly.
nearly as much.
Right.
But go
So
ahead.
so Dorian comes and he and he gives us a call. Sean gives him our numbers, and then we all have this secret meeting at Mark's house. And where X-Pac's there, me.
He gave me $3,000 for that meeting
Oh,
just
really?
to set the meeting up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Kozlov and Sean and Dorian sit down, and Dorian lays out the plan of what he wants to do, and Sean lays out the plan of what you already had ideas about doing.
D-Generation Mex.
Yeah. So lays out the plan. We kind of lay out somewhat of a guideline of how it's going to go, and Mark and Kozlov are a little hesitant because they're doing well where they're at, and obviously it's a big jump to go from one company to the other because you don't know what's going to happen, right? So I've got nothing to lose, so I'm like, hell yeah, I'm in, And then obviously the money that they're offering was great, especially compared to when you're not making anything,
Right. And did they live up to the deal?
They did.
Okay, good.
For the most part.
Right.
We'll get to that.
and just to be clear, you didn't get $3,000 to go to the meeting.
No. I got nothing to go to the meeting, but I was happy to finally get a job of some sort, And mind you, New Japan I had just signed the papers to go do this tour for New Japan, this one tour. So I'm all in because it was a guaranteed deal. I was going to get paid, guaranteed no matter what, which was like great, So I'm the first one to jump.
Yeah.
So maybe like a week later, I'm supposed to be on the Arena Coliseo show. It's a TV show, that I do every week, and it's my only work every week. I'm guaranteed I'll be there. And here we are. We have a TV show for AAA in Puebla, which is like 2 hours outside of Mexico City. And they pick me up later than everybody else. They hide me in this bus. And I am just freaking the fuck out. Just freaking out. Because, like, I'm so nervous and scared about, like, about just making my debut with Sean and everybody. And here I am, like, away from everyone. And then secondly, just, like, all these things are going through my mind. Like, I'm in Mexico. what if Paco's like connected to the mafia?
Which
What
of
if-
course they are. Of course they are.
That's a legit concern.
Allegedly.
Don't be silly.
But then I'm just like worried that like, some gunman is gonna come in here and like hunt me down,
Yeah.
some Sicario or something, and I'm like I'm just freaking out. Just every thought that's going, is going through my mind is just like negative, So it was so bad. I was wearing like this light brown T-shirt, and like I had these huge sweat stains going on like all the way down the sides because I was just so nervous. And then finally, I think you came in, you told me what was going on for the music cues or whatever, and I'm just like, okay. And I've still got the gray shadow mask on, so then the music hits.
Yes.
I think you came out, right, and attacked some guys. I don't even know who it was. I don't remember. Yeah, and I think they started beating you up, and then I come out of the crowd. I like springboard.
Did you have the
dropkick.
mask on?
I had the mask
Gotcha.
on. I attack everybody, and then we stand up or something like that. I pulled off the mask and we started doing suck-its to everybody, and it was cool as hell.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, thank God it's over, So then I get to the back, there's all kinds of press people there, all kinds of writers and news people, because over there it's a big deal, right? So like they're asking me like, well, you were supposed to be on, Arena Coliseum tonight, and you jumped over to AAA, like what's going on, and I'm trying to stay in character, go along with the I couldn't say like, I was broke and I wasn't making any money. I was like, Sean Waltman came and got me, we're starting a revolution in Mexico, D-Generation Mex, staying within the angle. And, but it was cool. But I at this time too, like glad it was over, but still freaking out that like, I'm pretty sure one of these guys is going to be a gunman. He's going to like shoot me down right now. Thank God it never happened.
Okay. Some people, and for the most part, when somebody would say something like that, I'm going, oh, you're overreacting, or you just worried. But truth is, down there, it's a legitimate concern.
Yeah. It's the
It's
Wild
not
Wild
bullshit.
West. It's the Wild Wild West. I think it's as close to the Wild Wild West as like I've ever been.
Man.
Like it truly is. I felt like a cowboy down there plenty of times.
Yeah.
So So then then we go on when we start this angle, and then I think it was like maybe like a month or so, I think, on TV or something before the rest of the guys started coming, because then Kozlov came next.
Yeah.
He was the second one.
Yeah, and Mark wasn't D-Mex, but like we kind of were still, allied.
Right. So so eventually Kozlov made the jump and he left CMLL and he joined us, and it was the three of us as D-Mex, which was cool, as hell. And like I honestly like I don't feel like I ever gave you like enough props for what you taught me during that time, because
cool.
that's the stuff that like after Mexico and D-Mex, like the words that you gave me resonated like so much. That's like my fucking mantra now. That's what I use in all my matches, and how I think I've kind of like re-sparked my career is all be off of the things that you taught me, like how important the comeback is.
Yeah,
I'm like the comeback
fire, all
king
that
now,
shit,
right?
man.
Like at least in my world, where like it's cruiserweight type world, and everybody wants to do all these big moves and stuff, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do the same thing where I jump off the top, I do a billion clotheslines, but it's what people knew, and like
Everyone loves that.
Yeah,
man.
and it's like I don't have to do anything spectacular. I don't have to do a triple moonsault. I don't have to do anything cool. And it's just the fire, the feeling, and what I do is just exciting. Like, because I'm pumped and excited for it. Sure. So like the crowd is just like more into it, and it ends up being like the hottest part of the match, or one of them,
It's the part that gets the biggest reaction.
Exactly, and emotionally, I'm in
and
it.
That's
and
what it's all about, Rocky.
Hell yeah, dude. And so like to this day, I just want you to know that
Cool,
that
man.
like
it was an honor
it's all
and a
because
pleasure.
of you. Yeah.
And here's the thing: it was from a selfish standpoint, I had two young guys that could go out there and pick up a lot of the slack for me as I'm getting older. And,
right.
and look, it was so, you guys had it all down, like, moves wise, and even just, all the other stuff too, man. I just was like, I want to pass on that like big star shit.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No. X-Pac, where the fuck is my music? Where isn't it playing?
That's right.
Why do you think the Roppongi Vice music is so important to me now? And like having that presence and having control over my music,
That's right.
like that's a big deal to me, because it's a part of my character, and like it elevates me more, more important than everybody else. Everybody else has got like just random, BS music, and I've got something that's real.
It makes it so much easier when you know the recipe.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, like I'm trying to pass it down, to like people that I train with and stuff like that, and like folks who ask me, for advice and things like that. I try to give them those keys, to the success. And some people get it, some people don't, but
the ones that are worth giving it to will get it.
Right.
And then the ones that, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta put it out there, even if it's not going to be received well.
Right.
Just because.
Right. It was definitely just the right place at the right time that I think that I got to meet you and work with you at that moment. Obviously, we had met earlier, but.
And then all the shows we did for Marquez, the
Lucha
shows.
Yeah, the Lucha Loops were great. Yeah, those were awesome. Yeah. And but like, cause like also going to Mexico, besides all the business stuff, was like I had planned to go there to kind of like break the shell and like and like finally come out of it and like show the world that that I was a little more charismatic than what people actually thought I was, and and just to kind of break through and like all my worries and insecurities about being on a mic or whatever, like I was like, I'm gonna break that. So like meeting you and then you giving me that great insight was like help me to break through that.
Cool. And here's the honest truth of the matter is, during that time, you and Alex were more over than I ever was. If you ever go back and you watch the matches, you listen. Not that I didn't get not that I got a bad reaction, but you could just tell these guys. Cause, they're young, good looking. I don't know if I was young at one time, but I don't know about the good looking part. That was just how it was, and I was just grateful to have you guys. It really was.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was cool.
What happened after I left? Because finally, they ended up, going back on their deal with me.
And well, the same thing happened with us as well. So like, I think after you left, maybe like a few months after, I kind of floated around because they didn't know what to do with me, and then obviously not having the big brother there to kind of like step to door and be like, hey, you got to do this and that.
Right.
Once you were gone, then it was like, okay, well, we'll break up D-Mex and you and Alex will feud. And it's like, okay, cool. So me and Alex feud. And then I beat Alex in this big match where we're in the main event for once, and I beat Alex in this big cage match. And then I get taken off TV for like 3 months. And then Alex gets fired in the angle, but yet is on TV every week.
And then, of course. That's so AAA.
Yeah. So then that was it. Like I floated around for those 3 months, and then I finally came back. Because they realized, oh, we're paying this guy, and we're not even using him, so we better do something with him, right?
Yeah.
So they bring me back, and they're like they're saying, okay, in 2 weeks we're gonna bring you back to TV, but we need to tell you something.
We want to pay you less.
Yes.
We're like, good guess, Sean.
After I leave Paco and burn the bridge, you want to go back on your deal.
Exactly. So about a year later or so, I signed like a 3-year deal, and I think it's like a year later now or so, or a year and a half, and they're like, well, business is not as good as when you first started, so we're going to basically pay you like 50% less,
right.
And
but we'll work you more. We'll work you to death so you can make up for it.
Right. And they're like, okay. But they're like, don't worry, it's only going to be for 3 months. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, what else, am I going to do? I burned not that I burned my bridge. I went to Japan. I teamed with Negro Casas during that time. But then basically New Japan told me, we can't use you if you're working for AAA because they're the competitor. We work with CMLL. So I couldn't go to Japan, and that was the whole reason why I had gone there, and I kind of like screwed that up because I took this deal, and so I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm staying to, till this thing gets figured out. So they decide they want to put me back on TV, and they want to turn me heel, and I'm going to join, Conan's faction or whatever.
Legion Estrangera.
Yeah, just be another one of those guys.
Sure.
So I go and we film the angle, and I'm just in a bad situation like during this whole time because I'm like miserable now. Like I'm back to like not doing great financially because I was set, living a certain life, and then I was off of a certain amount of money, and now all of a sudden like I'm getting paid 50% less.
Were you living in Polanco with Jack Evans and Mark Jindrak?
Yeah, with Jack Evans and
the high rent district.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So I'm living in the high rent district, but now I'm getting paid less. Right. So I got nothing. I'm like, oh man, I gotta like count my pennies every day. So basically, you know, we go and we do this like tour, like 3-day tour. We're doing like TVs down somewhere, and like I don't even remember where it was. But like I'm just in a bad way, and I'm kind of like don't really care about the shows, and I don't care what I'm doing. So like me and Kozlov, we end up getting like drunk before the match.
Yeah.
Like I went and we did like this terrible match, TV match, and then the next day was supposed to be my big like change, you know, to Rudo or whatever. So I go and I do it, and you know, I cut this promo, and you know, it was all right. You know, it got heat and everything. And then that next day was payday. So we take the 10-hour, 12-hour bus drive from wherever we're at back to Mexico City. And I'm in the skyrise.
Must have been coming from Oaxaca.
Yeah, somewhere far. And you know, I get to the skyrise, nice apartment and everything, you know, and I'm like, oh, I better go get some groceries and stuff. So I walk back downstairs, and I was like, oh, let me check today's payday. I should get paid. And it was 3 months to the day. I put my card in, and it was the same, like half the money that I was supposed to get paid. So I was like, all right, well, I guess tomorrow I'll have to go into the office and go wait for 4 hours to talk to Dorian. So I go down there, and I waited probably 4 or 5 hours, and they just said, oh, okay, another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. I waited forever, and then I was like, all right. So I told his assistant, George, I said, you know what? I just tell Dorian that I quit, and I'm done. I'm going home. So I tell him, I said, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm done. So, of course, I get an email from Dorian that night, come in tomorrow, you know, we'll talk. So I drag myself down there. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do this.
How long did you wait that time?
That time I waited maybe 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. See?
Right. Only because I was threatening with them, you know, for quitting. You
Because
know?
here's the deal. They don't want you to quit. They want to fire you.
Right. So I walk up there. He's like, well, what can we do to change your mind? I said, well, it comes down to, I mean, you said you're going to give me this. They're like, well, we can't do it. I was like, all right, well, I quit. You know, I said, to be honest, I'm just kind of done here. I think my Mexico thing is just done. And he's like, okay. He's like, all right, well, I guess that's it. I was like, yeah, that's it. So, you know, we had a little party to like say goodbye with, you know, me, Kozlov, and Jindrak, and you know, I packed up my stuff and I went home. Not, you know, and I was like, I'm just gonna get like a real job, and you know, I guess this wrestling thing is kind of over for now because I didn't know where I was gonna go. Right. You know, I knowing that I quit because I just couldn't do it anymore. So I was like, I don't care what I have to do. I just don't want to be here anymore.
Were you sad about this, or I mean, it sounds like you were really considering ending your career at that point.
I was, and I think I was in such a bad place that I was just happy to get out of there. So like I was sad a little bit about what was going to happen or if my career was going to be over, but like it didn't matter because I was just so happy to get out of there.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like, and that's such a weird thing to say because like I love this business so much I couldn't imagine being away from it, you know? So, but I think just by that time I had enough, you know? Yeah. So I don't know. I've like floated around for a few months, and like I tried to like get in contact with New Japan, and then you know it didn't seem like that was going to go anywhere. And then all of a sudden, maybe like 4 or 5 months, 6 months after, they sent me a message and they're like, "Are you available in November?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm available." And they're like, "Okay, we want to team you with Davey Richards." For this tag team tournament that we're doing, you know, where obviously we don't know, you know, for the future, but if you guys are good together, and I'm like thinking, oh, cool, because I teamed with Davey for a little bit in Ring of Honor, so I was like, all right, well, you know, that'll work. So then I come and we get, because Fergal Devitt, Finn Balor gets hurt, we end up getting pushed all the way to the finals, and we work Jado and Gato, and we have a really good match with them, and the whole tournament was really good. So it ends up kind of changing, and they were happy with me and Davey, so then that's how I kind of got back into New Japan, and I've been there ever since. Yeah.
Cool.
If you don't mind my going back a little bit, what did you do in that meantime before you got that phone call? Were you working a real job? Did you continue training?
Right. Well, yeah, I started training. Like I just kind of like was like, well, before I step into the real job mode, let me start to see like what my options are. So I was thinking like, man, what if I could get to WWE? Like this is the first time in my career I'm thinking like, what about WWE? That's something that I've never done. Like never even cared to do. Never did like a dark match. Never did, you know, like an extra thing. It just was not on my radar because I didn't want to go there. Like I just didn't think like it was a possibility, and didn't really care. Like I always wanted to work in Japan and Mexico, and then at the end of my career, if like they would come calling, you know. So if that was the opportunity there, or if it presented itself. So, so yeah, I just started training people. I I reached out to Ring of Honor. I think they used me a couple times, but they had a pretty full crew. And I was just kind of doing like random indies like around SoCal. Like I'm basically starting back over, like I'm just trying to because you go to Mexico, you think that people know about you, but they forget about you down there,
And also,
here,
someone like me could go down there assuming that they're a big star there, just like they were every other country in the world, and realize that a lot of wrestling fans there don't know you because they're not WWE fans.
Right.
Because the Lucha Libre and WWE, although there's a lot of crossover in the fan base, some of it's separate too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the Lucha is a, the average person can afford a ticket. The average person can't afford a WWE ticket.
Exactly. And they're only coming 3 times a year or something.
Well, they used to just they burned it out for a while and then they had to back off. But so I had to go down there, and while a lot of the people in the crowd knew I had to get over with the ones that didn't.
Yeah.
So I had to get into get over mode, which is a lot different than you're already over work mode. Way different.
Absolutely. So so basically I got forgotten about. They're like, oh well, it was like the consensus was like, oh, you're doing big things in Mexico, but we don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Sure.
We don't know what you're doing at all. So can I say the F word?
Well, I
dropped several bombs.
I try to be mindful of it mostly, but it happens. It happens. It's not gratuitous. It's not just they don't fly left and right, but it's just fine. I was just thinking about some of our opponents when we were in Mexico, going back just a little bit. And hey, Mark, you have that match with Teddy Hart and Jack, the New Heart Foundation?
Yes, I do.
What did they call themselves again?
X-Generation Heart Foundation?
Something like that. Yeah.
Watch this. For the people at home, Teddy Hart's on the...
Oh, yeah. Jack is going to dive on me, but I move. I'm supposed to move.
Sasuke special by Jack, and you move out of the way.
And then...
Teddy. So, you're just looking at...
I'm pretty sure that he's not supposed to dive on me. I think that he just
did it on his own.
Yeah,
because he didn't feel like he got enough shit in.
I think
he always thought that. And I love Teddy.
Right.
And all the things that come with Teddy, I'm willing to deal with because he's great.
Yeah.
He's an excellent talent. But that kind of shit right there can end up killing somebody.
Yeah, I could have broke my neck.
Yeah.
He could have, who knows what could have happened to him.
So the people that are listening, because some people are just listening.
Right.
Jack Evans went to dive on you. You moved out of the way.
Right. I'm supposed to move out of the way.
As you're looking at Jack, Teddy Hart climbs to the top rope and just does a moonsault onto you as you're not even looking at him and don't know he's coming.
No,
and
I had no idea.
And it's not supposed to happen in the match.
Yeah. Hey, but that's Mexico, man.
And it's Teddy. And that's why I was like, when I responded to that tweet the other day, I'm like, yeah, I remember that totally, but that was just like one of many, that was like a daily thing with Teddy down there.
Teddy's a quirky dude, man. I like him though, man. He's like
I've known him since he was a little kid.
Right. And you used to always say that, you guys would talk about his dad and everything.
BJ and his wife, his mom,
exactly.
Georgia.
But he is such an eccentric guy. He is a great talker, a great personality, has a great presence about him, physically so gifted, and just for some reason, he never did his thing to the way that he should have. I mean, we know the reasons why, but he I used to tell him, I was like, dude, you could be a millionaire. What the hell are you doing here? Working with us. I was like, you should be making millions. You could be easily making millions.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He would just smile, because he knew. He knew too.
Here's the thing, and we don't know what Teddy has been through in his life to end up that way.
Right.
So let's just try to keep that in mind at least.
No, I think that he's one of the great talents out there. No matter what, he can still go, and I like that he's different. He's always trying to be different and trying to think out of the box, and that's something that not everybody can do, and I respect that about him, And I wish that there was somebody would give him an opportunity to actually like go and do it, because I bet you, who knows, like maybe people would say like he would mess it up or whatever, but like maybe he wouldn't, maybe truly getting like a really good opportunity. Who's to say that he wouldn't? Maybe he's changed. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
He did get a big opportunity recently, and ended up getting thrown in jail in Texas, and so he was cut from that tour. Yeah, I hate to bring out that he may actually still be in jail there in Texas. So
I think his biggest flaw is he doesn't play the game.
Yeah,
like, he's too concerned about doing crazy Teddy Hart stuff instead of being like Paul London. Paul London came back to the Indies. He has like a 20-minute entrance. He does like his whole song. He walks in, he walks out, but he shows up on time.
Yeah.
He's gonna wrestle his match. Like, he's reliable.
Yeah, that's
that's the difference. Like, Teddy will show up before his match is about to start and think that you're gonna tell all the wrestlers that have been planning their match, oh no, now put Teddy in your match and go out through the curtain and wrestle.
Yeah.
And then that takes the promoter.
we watched that happen at PCW.
Yeah, that takes the promoter and puts him in this predicament. Okay, well, do I show like leniency to you, or do I upset everyone in the locker room to make you happy when next show you might not even show up again? Kind of thing.
Okay.
But
But then you see him after the show, and he's such a nice guy. And
No,
he's
he's
fun,
great.
and
Yeah, he's great. He's
to talk
funny.
to.
He's quite the character.
Yeah.
What's going on now? What's next, Rocky?
So we're just gearing up to do this next tour.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off right there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I wanted you to tell me about the Tokyo Dome this year.
Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 11 was insane, man. It was insane. I think I witnessed one of the greatest matches that's ever happened on this earth.
That's right.
In Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada.
I was talking to Steve Austin about that the other night. The other day he gave me a holler, and that was a big part of our conversation.
What did he think? I'm curious to hear his
I
thoughts.
don't want to go into detail,
Right.
but he's really high on some Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
Let's just put it that
right,
way.
Right. Yeah, and
I can agree with him.
Yeah, and I want to say too, though, that obviously Okada, showed his own. He's amazing. He's it takes two to tango. But I think nobody saw Kenny in that light as that huge main event.
That's right.
Talent. So I think that's why his star shines a little brighter. And where Okada's been there for a couple of years now, right?
And he's okay. Kenny Omega's work is okay. To the next, it's on another level, man. The detail on all of his the finer points of what makes a guy great in the ring. It just all of these little
His
things,
selling
man.
is insane.
Yes,
mannerisms.
Mannerisms
man.
are great, man.
So
yeah,
good.
he's amazing.
The little, the most
littlest
detailed work I've seen maybe ever,
Right.
and that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
But maybe ever, man.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
I
if
would
he
agree.
choose to go to WWE,
Yeah.
right to the top.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. He's something special. They're very unique, very different. The way that he's another one like who looks at wrestling way differently than everybody else. Tries to think outside of the box. What is everybody else doing? I don't want to do that. I want to do this.
That's right.
And then you work with him and he'll change it maybe 4 or 5 times before you get out there because he's constantly thinking and changing little
because
intricate
there might be a wrinkle, man, and you got to iron that wrinkle
Yeah.
out for it to be okay in your head.
Right.
Right. And a lot of guys don't iron those wrinkles out.
Right.
They just go, oh, fuck it. Let's just get it. However, we got to get to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So-
I mean, he's crazy talented, just crazy talented. No one is like him at all. He's very unique.
And what about your match?
My match was cool. It wasn't the best ever, but the best match of all time. But it was actually it was really good. Young Bucks Roppongi Vice match, and it was cool this year to kind of be the focus and be the good guys. So we actually won, So that was cool. Yeah, and I think everybody expected that we weren't going to win because it is the Young Bucks. They're the greatest tag team on earth.
Yeah.
So going in, it was Roppongi Vice is going to do well. They're going to take it to a certain level, and then the Young Bucks are going to win. So I think us pinning the Young Bucks out of nowhere was a big surprise, and I got a lot of great feedback
What
from
was the
a lot of
finish?
people.
More bang.
Yeah, they go for more bang,
Which is what?
Which
Explain
is
it.
Fireman's
it?
Carry, a Finley roll.
Yep.
Okay.
And then one guy does a
Moonsault.
450 and the other, and then Matt does a moonsault.
Gotcha.
They, so every match, that's how they beat people with. So they go for it, and as Matt does the Finley roll, I just roll them up out of nowhere.
Nice.
1,
That's
2,
how you
3.
do it.
That's how you do it.
Yes.
And you know the shock, you know, and the applause after was crazy. Like people were really happy and really excited, you know, especially that it was such a swerve like that, you know, and it was cool. It was really cool.
And what was the crowd? How'd they draw?
Very well.
Yeah.
It was more than last year. I don't know. So people report different things. I would say that there was at least 30,000 people in the building for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know how that is with the reporting of the crowds.
Exactly.
How did I tell you about how they do it over there with the, you know, it's a sold out crowd, but then there'll be half the people and
they curtain the top levels. Or
well,
something?
no, I'm just saying how they wash the money.
Oh,
were we talking about Mexico?
Well, there too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's not so much there now in Japan. Like that's. Yeah. It's back in the day it used to happen a lot. But
Tell the people.
Never mind. No, I'll tell it when Rocky's not here.
All right, we'll talk about it.
He's still got to go over there.
Well, we could talk about it. They did that in Mexico. I mean, you know, like where you would do an outside show somewhere in, you know, wherever, some town, Oaxaca or something, just say, and then you know, the promoter might be somewhat of a mafioso or whatever, and
cartel or
something, and you would have a 10,000 seat building, and you know there would be like maybe 2,000 people there, right?
If that, sometimes
maybe that,
there'd
maybe
be a bull
less.
ring with 100 people in there, and it was all his family.
Yeah, sometimes that too.
Or it could. They'd set a ring up in the dude's backyard, and we'd have a barbecue. And you guys,
yeah, and then
but the guy would pay big money for that show. Big.
So just say there was 100 people in the bull ring, but it was a 10,000 seat bull ring.
Sold out.
Paper, that thing was sold out.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, that's a way that they would wash money through events and things like that. You know, it wasn't just wrestling; they were doing it with everything.
Everything.
You know?
Yeah. Any kind of live event.
Yeah.
Something I thought was really cool about Wrestle Kingdom was how was it for you to win the title there as Rocky Romero and see ACH be the new incarnate of Black Tiger?
Yeah, I mean,
who's ACH?
ACH, he's an independent worker. He was in ROH and various independents.
He wrestles all over.
He's great. Okay. Yeah. He does some really unique stuff. Yeah. I mean, like I feel like that. You know, like. I like to play homage, you know, sometimes and bring like a mask out and stuff like that, but I feel like I'm just so far past Black Tiger at this point, you know, especially over there, that it was cool. Like it was cool that he actually did come up and like ask me like, you know, like what should I expect? And A, you know, this is his first Tokyo Dome, and then B, he's first time he's ever worn a mask, and then he's like doing the Black Tiger, and I just said, you know, just go out there and have fun. You're not going to be able to see the people, so don't even worry about it, you know, because they're so far away and it's so like darkly lit.
And the reaction is so like delayed from the time the sound gets to you. From, that's most big dome stadiums, but there are the occasional one where it was deafening, like the Astrodome in Houston for WrestleMania. Like, I think they might mic the crowd and and blare the crowd noise through the PA too.
Oh wow!
I mean, that would be what I would do.
Yeah,
because it's so important to have that energy.
Absolutely,
man. It makes it so much. Talk about the difference between working in Korakuen Hall and working in the Tokyo Dome. Korakuen Hall is about 2,000 seater,
right?
And it's like, you know, it's just right down the street from Tokyo Dome.
Right next door. Yeah,
it's a lot different when you're working in an intimate setting, as opposed to.
It's a beautiful intimate hall, in the fact that like the acoustics are like perfect. So like you do something, the immediate reaction is there. The buzz from the crowd.
Yeah.
Is like right there. The energy is something that's just very different, you know, and like you can actually feel it. There's so much energy in that room that you can feel. You can actually feel that electricity that people talk about and stuff like that. You can feel it, and it's like any New Japan Korakuen Hall show, you'll feel that.
Yes.
So that's like it's like a guaranteed. As opposed to like working in the Tokyo Dome where like it feels a little cold, people are far. Like you said, you wait for that reaction. You do something off the top and you stand up there. You stand up waiting for the reaction from the crowd, and it's not there. And then you give it like a half a second later, and then it comes. And then you're like, oh, okay, I did that right.
Do you feel like you have to take your time? Do you feel like you have to take your time more working in the Tokyo Dome?
Yes. Try to slow everything down just a bit and try to take your time. Hold that second a little longer. Wait for the cameras to get your face too, because you know, it's so far away, the people are so far away that they have to look at the big screen too. So you got to let the cameras get your face so that the reaction comes from the people when they actually see your face on screen, you know?
So, okay, we talk about sometimes, maybe not on these shows that like we're on now, but in a lot of conversations, we talk about when you're in a 10,000 or 20,000 seat building, and it's different. And like we're talking about the work in the Tokyo Dome and Cork, but okay, the arena shows still you have to work to the people in the top row, right, in the nosebleeds. But in the Tokyo Dome, do you try to be mindful of that, or do you just work the cameras because they're looking at the big monitors anyways?
I try to set my matchup thinking about that very aspect. So like I knowing like where to put like big moves, meaning like not like a big power bomb or something like that, but like something. Okay, well, just say like something that's going to make a lot of noise, and or something like where it's physically big, like jumping off the top rope and giving a drop kick or something like that. Knowing that we have to, every couple moves, there needs to be something that's exciting, because you have to work for those people in the far back so that they don't lose interest, So I try to be mindful of that. But when I'm in the ring, the last couple of years, I've been thinking about the small details and working the camera, because I think the camera is more important in a building like that, because people can't see the small details otherwise, but they want to see the small details. Yeah. So you got to wait for it to come up on the screen, Right. So. Yeah,
and it is different. Okay, you have that Korakuen Hall, you have like a Budokan, and then you have a Tokyo Dome. Right. But even the Budokan these days, they've got the big screen, right?
Right. You know what? The best building to me, obviously Korakuen is top, up there, but Sumo Hall. Yeah. So it's like it's like 8,000, 10,000 seats. But it's intimate too, because it's built up, right? Because it's built for sumo, so it's not built out; it's built kind of up. So like people are kind of more on top of you right there, but there's still 10,000 people there. So I get more nervous for that kind of show than I didn't even get nervous for Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome, because I know like it's just a different feeling. When you get out there and you feel that buzzing energy. That's what gives me butterflies and makes me feel nervous, And I know that they're right there with me on the ride with me. So like I know that like every little intricate thing is going to make a difference, in how they react. So like that's more nerve-wracking to me.
I'm a Budokan fan.
I'm a fan
of the Budokan more than Sumo Hall.
Yeah. It's a big building. Sure. That's a big building. It's like 30,000 seats.
Yeah, which for Japan is huge.
Yeah,
for an
that's
indoor
huge.
Building.
Yeah. That's a cool building too, though. It's also built kind of up a little bit.
You know the story about I don't even have the details in my head because it's been so long. The fans set Sumo Hall on fire one time over a screw job finish?
I remember hearing something
like a double
that.
count out finish, just a bullshit finish. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, man.
They don't giving anyone any ideas out there.
Yeah, but that stuff never happens in Japan. Like they're pretty reserved people. Yeah, And
you mean that stuff like
trying to set fire? Yeah, because they're upset about a finish. That I mean, Mexico that would happen. Puerto Rico, obviously. America, you hear some stories, but like.
You ever had a cup of piss thrown on you in Mexico?
No, I
have. How about hot sauce in the face?
Hot sauce because
shitty diaper.
Right.
Me right here.
Yeah.
Wait, do you remember what you did to warrant that?
Just
he was a white dude walking out in Mexico.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Somebody cut me with some kind of sharp object, and I've got like a little nick on the back of my back. Yeah, it was. It was the first time I went down there for CMLL, and we were working with. Super Crazy had a show in his hometown. It was Crazy Mania #3
Crazy
or something
Mania,
like that. Yeah. So it's like Super Crazy, his cousin, and then and like his somebody else, an uncle or something like that. So like they're the local hometown guys, against like me, TJ, and Bobby Quance, who we didn't look like we could do anything, to be honest. But like it's Mexico, so they're just passionate about like you fighting against their hometown hero, So like we're beating them up in the crowd, and like Crazy's bleeding everywhere, and somebody just came up to me and they were like yelling at us, and like I felt something kind of like nick me in the back, and like as I turned around, the guy just went right through the crowd, just right out. He just started running, and I touched my back, and there's like blood. I'm like, great. And like, it's like dirty as hell over here. Like, like, it was like a bull ring.
You're like grabbing the needles for
it was some of the nastiest conditions ever. I got used to shit that I never thought I'd get used to down there.
Oh yeah.
And shit isn't actually a good word to use. And what I'm talking about.
No, absolutely. Yeah. The conditions are not sanitary, not great. Yeah.
Rocky. No,
You
go ahead,
mentioned
man.
Bobby Quance a few times. I don't know how many people really know about him, but he was a up and comer in early PWG that was killing it on the indies. He did a beautiful shooting star, and he went off to be a Navy SEAL, right? He quit wrestling. To be a
he
Navy
quit
SEAL.
wrestling, became a Navy SEAL, and like was living in the jungles in like a tree for like months at a time, and like just crazy stuff. I still keep in contact with him, and he's got a baby now and a wife, and he's doing really well. Yeah.
So.
I think he's studying to be a doctor now or something. Like he's
Good for
insanely
him.
smart, and he's a crazy athlete. Yeah.
Wrestling's not going anywhere, Bobby. It's still here.
You were an early PWG, so how do you feel seeing how much that company has grown to now and how many stars it produced? Because watching just one of your videos on YouTube of you versus so many people in PWG, Davey, Loki, Brian Danielson, Roderick Strong, like all the top guys in wrestling right now, you were wrestling in PWG at the Legion Halls.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, PWG, Super Dragon has such a great eye for talent, and he only uses the guys who, end up doing something, like they're like top talents, so it's cool to be a part of that lineage, and being a part of that. But yeah, I mean, you can see where it is now, and I mean, they're kind of they do their own thing. Yeah. They live in their own little wrestling world, and it's cool. They've created it, and there's fans that only go to PWG shows that live, locally or fly in for wherever. They don't care about WWE. They don't care about it, New Japan, ROH. They just focus on PWG and the atmosphere.
I heard that Ronda Rousey got turned away one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah.
Like she didn't have a ticket, and they're like, too bad or something.
That's cool.
She always comes in a group with a lot of people that buy several tickets.
Yes.
And I don't know if they had one for her, and they're like, "Oh, it's Ronda Rousey," but Super Dragon's like, "I don't fucking care." Like that's a seat that's gonna go to a fan that's gonna pay the money, and then
who comes every.
They got her a ticket, and then one of their shows she sat on the stage. But yeah.
All right,
that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool because it's his trigger, however you want to put it. But I mean, be exposed to my art as possible.
Right.
But that's just me.
Right, and they could sell out much bigger venues than what they do, right?
And it's funny because so many people want them to move to a bigger building and they could pack the house, but they don't want to leave there because of the atmosphere and everything.
Right.
And they've turned down so many offers from like Fox Sports and TMZ and all these places that want to do stories about them. They're like, no, we don't want it. And they're like, well, don't you want the exposure? It's like, where are we going to put any more people here?
What a problem to have.
So what a problem to have, exactly, especially in independent wrestling.
But it's cool though because the prices just keep going up.
Yeah,
because it becomes more exclusive.
That's the other way,
and that's a cool thing about it too because it's like, oh man, like they literally sell out in like 5 minutes.
Good.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's cool. Yeah.
Well, hey, you guys have any more questions for Rocky?
Christy, you haven't been able to ask anything.
Well, I did want to, get into a little bit and ask you if the reports from early 2016, there were some reports that WWE was interested in signing you as a trainer.
Yeah, I went down there.
True?
Yeah, I went down there and I did like the week long,
like the guest trainer
spa. Yeah, and it was great. I actually, and it was something that I was considering at the time, I'm always considering something, like what the evolution is going to be, like obviously I'm not going to wrestle forever, but and I'm getting tired of people asking me about it, but I was open to it, but then I realized that like I still want to perform, I still enjoy it, and and I'm 34 now, and I'm not really ready to walk away from that side yet, so like taking that job would be a big responsibility. And I would take it seriously, but like if I'm not happy doing it and not ready for it, then why would I take it? There's somebody else that could use it better than I could, So,
that's right.
So like, if the deal were different and that's what I was asking, like if I could wrestle as well and that also be a thing, then maybe I would be interested. But then New Japan came with a great offer, and for 2 years, and I signed, and I'm happy there. I love it there, and and I've been there for a long time, and that was kind of like always the thing that I was always trying to get back to. So like, why give it up now if it's working for me and I get to live at home in LA and and I travel back and forth, and there's still a lot of things that I haven't done there that I'd like to do. You know, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But like, it's also cool that they're expanding now into the U.S. You know, they just announced that July 1st and 2nd they'll be in Long Beach. Yeah,
It's gonna be here.
yeah, Long Beach.
Now, are they going to do it
Center.
right? Are they going to have the New Japan ring and the New Japan announcer and the New Japan ref and all that
I mean,
that people want to see?
For the most part, I think yeah, and you know, I think that you know, they'll have a full-on straight New Japan card. You know, like all titles on the line. You know, type thing. You know, for the 2 days or whatever, and it's going to be done right in the way. The presentation of New Japan Pro Wrestling, yeah.
That's what people want to see.
That's
and
what
I've
people wanna
talked
see,
about
yeah.
that, just like when WWE goes to Japan, the Japanese people want to see it like it is on TV, from
Right.
the ring announcer to everything. The ring, the same ring posts,
Right.
the same turnbuckles, the same ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Those little things
Those
mean
matter.
a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of rings, do you guys prefer a 6-sided ring or a 4-sided ring? Because I know
Four, yeah.
4, yeah.
The 6-sided ring, okay, it's harder, which I don't really care that much about that anymore. But as far as climbing the ropes on a 6-sided ring, the ropes are usually at a 45-degree angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you make it a 6-sided ring, I'm not sure what the angle is, but it's not 45 or a right angle, however you want to put
Right.
it. I'm screwing this up.
We know what you mean.
But yeah, anyways, it's a lot hard. What I'm trying
Yeah.
to get at, let me just get to the point, is it's way harder to balance yourself on the top rope on a 6-sided ring.
Right.
And it's weird for the seating chart. It's weird to shoot it.
It's confusing too when you're in there and like say you have to be in a specific position or corner or something, and you're looking, you're like, oh, why is there so many corners in here?
Yeah,
You know,
it's just one of
you
those
know,
things.
like,
I just never dug it. What do you? Sorry.
I've only been in a couple times, and yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but like I prefer the 4 because I'm used to it. I like working in it. It's
Yeah.
easier, I think.
The crazy thing about AAA, which actually was pretty, I mean, right up AAA's alley, is you would get to TV and, you know, they didn't have the 6-sided ring on house shows in
Right.
Mexico, but AAA, you never knew when you showed up to TV if it was going to be a 4-sided or a 6-sided
Yeah,
ring.
they always
You
kept
just
us
never know.
guessing, right? Like I don't know why. It's like pick one, please, pick one. You know, anyone, just so we get used to it. You know, but yeah.
Rocky, thank you, man. Thank you for your time.
Oh, I got one
Go
more
ahead,
question
man.
before we go.
Okay.
So outside of wrestling, you do some acting.
Yeah.
And I pulled up a shot of you in an episode of Scorpion.
Oh, cool.
Where you played, in your IMDb, it says Thug Number
you were
1.
Scorpion?
Yeah, I was a Scorpion. I was
Oh.
thug number 1, man.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Maria and I interviewed Robert Patrick about this show.
Oh, yeah, I
this
met
is
him.
this
I
based
met
on
him.
a true guy, a real guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, I wanted to know what it was like to be on set and use the guns and be on set with T1000. How
yeah,
cool was that?
That was really cool because I was in like the makeup trailer, and then all of a sudden like Robert Patrick comes in. I'm like, dude, that's Robert Patrick. That's
Yeah.
really cool. I was like, and yeah, he was cool. He said hello, and like, you know, we chatted for a second, and you know, he left, and then I went and just, you know, did my thing, you know, and I got to work with I don't know what her name is, but she's one of the main lead actresses on there, and she was cool too, you know, and she let me like rough her up a little
The
bit.
girl
you know?
from American Idol is on there. It's
Yeah.
Catherine McPhee's on there, right?
Catherine McPhee. I met
Yeah.
her, and yeah, it was cool. It was just a cool experience to get a role like that, you know, on a big network, you know, and
And you have lines?
yeah, I had lines. I had
Nice.
lines in Spanish. I had to do, you know, part of it in Spanish.
Okay,
It was
Rico.
really cool, man. Yeah, so yeah.
Boot her in the face.
Yeah, I boot her in the face, and like, it was really cool. I got, you know, the stunt guy was like, "Oh man, you're really good at this." And I was like, "I should be," you know. And he's like, "Well, should we put the stunt guy in?" I was like, "No need. I can do this fall by myself." so yeah, so like it was a really cool experience, and like yeah, using the guns and everything was cool because I'd never used that, and like obviously it's like crazy, like the safety that regulations that go along with it, and they're always constantly checking it, and you know. But it was cool.
Checking what?
Like to make sure that like you know there wasn't anything in the chamber.
Well, look what happened to Brandon Lee.
Exactly. So
Is the acting something that you pursue regularly, or you try to do more of that?
as
or?
much as I can, but the problem is like the last year I've been so busy with New Japan that I haven't been able to give it the focus and attention that I want. But I just wrote like a little web series that I'm gonna do hopefully this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's called Chico El Luchador. It's about a luchador who's about to retire at 35. So it's like
Who's that about?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So, and then like his story of, basically, what happens, from that moment on, and yeah, it'll be cool. So yeah, we'll probably get that done sometime this year, hopefully.
Oh, very
Probably
cool.
co-starring some of your fellow wrestler friends.
Of course, got to sell
Nice.
this thing. Yeah. Maybe Sean will be nice enough to make a little appearance. Yeah.
Sure, I will.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
Good stuff.
Nice. Hey, do you have a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees?
Yes, you
Yeah?
can find it. Pro Wrestling Tees, Rocky Romero.
Oh yeah, I was checking it out. You have some cool designs.
Yeah, we have some cool stuff. We just did a really cool one last year where it's me and Trent and like the drunk businessmen, they get drunk and then they fall asleep.
Oh,
on
in Japan?
Japan
On
and
the trains
Yeah,
even?
they fall
Yeah.
asleep on the train or on the street.
Yep.
Wallet in hand and nobody bothers
Never.
them.
Yep.
And so we did like a spoof on that where we're like two drunk businessmen like passed out in Roppongi and that's our T-shirts.
Nice.
Just dumb stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool. So.
Well, I think we might have a new T-shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees,
yeah,
right?
we've got.
so what?
We were gonna cover that later.
Oh,
we
was
can
it
go ahead
later?
and throw that up.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
in our
sorry.
clothes. But let's let the people know that while they're on there checking out Rocky Romero
right.
shirts
Yeah.
and whipping out their credit cards, you can also find the exclusive original X-Pac 12360 tee, which you saw us all rocking in our commercial. You can check out on Instagram at X-Pac 12360. You can now purchase it for yourself and wear your X-Pac 12360 fandom right here.
I just made her do that out of turn, so we just shoehorned that in there.
That was cool, man.
We love it. We'll put the link on our social media and stuff too. So you guys gotta grab one of those.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Well, hey man, I guess maybe we can wrap this up now.
Yeah,
Go
cool.
get some food.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes, I'm excited. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming in, and it was so great to see you at the Staples Center the other night, and as soon as I saw you, I'm like, oh man, I got to get you in here.
Yeah,
It's an excuse to. I'm pretty busy, which shouldn't be an excuse, but at least I can use this as an excuse to catch up with my friends.
Right.
Yeah,
dude, I'm excited. I was glad that you hit me up and you said, hey, we'll come down to the show and then we'll hang out. We'll grab some food. I was like, that's perfect. Like now we have a legit reason to actually get this thing going. So.
All right.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
You were great. Man. You were great.
Thank you for coming to hang out with us, and we will be right back with some more X-Pac 12360.
Hey guys, Maria Menounos here. We want to let you know about my new show on SiriusXM Stars Channel 109. It's called Conversations with Maria, and it's live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Go to conversationswithmaria.com for more info. Buzz you later.
Welcome back. We're going to wrap this thing up now, but we got to tell you all, we want to thank Rocky for being here. He's still hanging out with us. Next week, we are going to have Eric Bischoff as our guest on the show, and then following that, Sean's going to be on his show, too. So
yeah, we're going to have a double header. Yes, it's going to be, well, here's the thing. We'll start it off here with Eric, and then we'll finish it up, and then from strategic standpoint, it's like everybody has to listen to both of them now.
Yes.
You gotta listen to both to get the whole thing.
Plan.
Yeah.
I like it.
They didn't understand what I was talking about when I was like running it by him at first. And he's like, okay, yeah, that'll work. I think they're just humoring me. It'll work though, guys. I promise you.
It's going to be great. And in the meantime, you guys can post your questions for Eric on our Facebook page, facebook.com/XPac12360 show. And follow us on Instagram. If you want to see that photo of everybody from the dojo before, it's pretty cool. I'll be posting that one. We are at XPac12360. You can always hit me up at Christy Reports on all social media. And Rocky, where can they follow you at?
You can find me on Twitter at AzukaRock, AZUCARROC.
Love it. And Jimbo?
Follow me on Twitter at Jimbo in the Booth. Check out my documentary, The Young Bucks 2 Sweet Journey, available at highspots.com.
That's right. And do not forget to go over to Pro Wrestling Tees and get your X-Pac 12360 shirt. Sean, take us out.
Well, you can find me at The Real X-Pac on Twitter, at Real X-Pac on Instagram, and I'll see you guys next week when, well, if I don't see you, you'll see me or hear me.
Buy a ticket to the Click reunion.
Yeah,
See him in person.
I'm really looking forward to talking to Eric next week, and see you guys right here next week on AfterBuzz TV. Yeah.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Phil Svitek, Keven Undergaro, show producer Jimbo Frank, managing editor of AfterBuzz Wrestling Christy Olson, and managing producer of AfterBuzz Wrestling Mark Bidonica, and the entire X-Pac 12360 staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in. Feel free to like us on Facebook, rate and comment on iTunes and YouTube, follow X-Pac on Twitter at TheRealXpac, and email us at xpac12360show@gmail.com. This has been a presentation of the AfterBuzz TV Network. Buzz you later!